Chapter 56, Giving Advice on Troubles. Tweet tweet. Yona was humming a tune as she strolled through the shopping district. She was in a great mood as she was shopping for necessities in the shopping district for the first time in a while. On her way back after a delightful shopping, meow meow meow, a yellow cat came strutting towards her, a sense of pride in its gait. And, what's this meow? A cat, despite being an intermediate wandering merchant, fearlessly blocked her path. Don't you know who I am? Step aside. And you, do you know who I am? Meow. Elka, watching the two tiny creatures assert their own importance, found the situation amusing. Just then, Elka noticed a small, staff-like red-colored wooden stick strapped to the cute hamster's back. At the end of the staff was a black gem, ominous in its appearance, covered in densely engraved golden letters. Is that the Staff of Disaster? The Staff of Disaster was a legendary item, one of only 3 in the tower. It was the signature weapon of Iona, the head of the Wizards Association, known as the Destructive Wizard. Could that hamster be? As Elka was taken aback, Theo gave him a hint to quickly explain who he was. What should I do? On one hand there was the follower of the great black dragon, and on the other there was the destructive magician, Iona. Both were formidable beings. Slurp slurp. Caught between two giant beings, Elka awkwardly licked his lips. From an outsider's perspective, it looked like a giant wolf licking its lips at the sight of a tiny cat and hamster. But in reality, the Silver Wolf tribe's chief, Elka, was feeling quite anxious. Miss Iona, Theo here is a follower of the great black dragon. Elka quickly disclosed Theo's identity, hopping to prevent Iona from attacking Theo. The destructive wizard Iona. It was known that with one blast of her magic, she could obliterate a mountain and create a river. If Iona were to impulsively attack Theo, he would be dead on the spot. Silver Wolf Tribe, is this true? If it's a lie, all of you will not be able to escape death for the crime of impersonating the great black dragon's name. I swear upon my tribe that it is not a lie. As Iona began to intensely scrutinize Elka to verify the truth. Stop tormenting my subordinate, meow. Talk to me, meow. Theo boldly stepped forward. Then prove that you really are a follower of the great black dragon. How so, meow? If you truly are a follower of the great black dragon, then take me to him. Iona intended to ask the great black dragon to solve the problem of the red locusts that had invaded the 67th floor of the tower. However, for free, meow. Theo spoke as if it was out of the question. He had the merchant's intuition that he couldn't just accept it. What do you want? For now, there are things to buy here, and Iona should pay for them all, meow. Oh, okay. Iona was taken aback by Theo's response and answered. She had thought he would say something significant, but he was just talking about trivial things. Iona looked at Theo strangely and joined the group. Theo went to a different general store, not the one he had been to before. If the owner, an intermediate wandering merchant, recognized him and gave him things for free, it wouldn't be rewarding to receive payment from Iona. Theo entered the general store and began to select items to buy. The items that Sejun had asked for were 3 large pots, a frying pan, and 10 glass bottles. But today, since he would be spending Iona's money, he added 90 glass bottles and a straw hat similar to Sejun's, filled with a little personal touch. That will be a total of 21.1 tower coins. Here, as Iona was about to pay. Give me a discount, meow. Theo started to haggle 3 times. When buying goods, he always followed Sejun's instructions to haggle 3 times. Theo was a cat with 0 flexibility when it came to Sejun's instructions. All right, then I will give it to you for 13 tower coins. Hurry up and pay, meow. After haggling 3 times, Theo said to Iona, What's with that cat? She had expected him to ask for something grand, but he was demanding something trivial, and in the store, he went out of his way to save her money by haggling the price down 3 times. While Iona was confused looking at Theo. Pew hut, Next is the blacksmith shop. Meow. Wearing the straw hat he had just purchased and in high spirits, Theo led the way to the blacksmith shop. Fortunately, when they arrived at the blacksmith shop, it was a different clerk, not the one who had let him draw for free last time. Give me a discount. Meow. This time as well, Theo haggled 3 times and made Iona pay 12.5 tower coins for the equipment draw cost. Then, Theo started to examine the items at the draw corner. Should I help? Seeing Theo quietly closing his eyes with his front paws outstretched, Iona asked. As a wizard, Iona could obviously use appraisal magic, and she wanted to repay Theo, who had somewhat saved her money. However, Theo did not answer and continued to focus. Just then, thump! Theo grabbed an item. It was a small ring. There was nothing attractive, so he grabbed the most appealing thing. I will appraise it for you. Having been ignored once, Iona offered her help again, but it's okay. Meow. Theo refused. His whiskers trembled. He had a sense of crisis that if he had this appraised and took it back, he might earn the dislike of a terrifying being. Fine, you don't need my help. Instead, he ended up receiving the dislike of a slightly less terrifying being. King. The wolves followed the two with nervous hearts. Kuang. Shake, shake. Now able to freely adjust his size, Kuangi entered the cave, shook Sejun awake. Kuangi, you're here. Sejun opened his eyes, added one more line on the wall and began the 224th day morning. Kuang, Kuang. Kuangi carried a honey-filled glass jar, following Sejun closely, pestering him to give him honey quickly. All right. Click. Sejun opened a jar of honey and poured 1 dollop of honey onto Kuangi's front paw. Slurp, slurp. As Kuangi eagerly licked the honey, Sejun returned the glass jar to its original place. There were 3 more jars full of honey there. Now that the number of poisonous honey bees exceeded 1,000, the daily production of honey was about 1.5 jars. Sejun washed his face in the pond and had breakfast with the rabbits. Today, as there were no special tasks, he ate his breakfast leisurely. The brick house was almost completed by the architect rabbit and the black minotaurs, and the crops were growing well. As usual, Sejun began his morning farming by harvesting cherry tomatoes. Snip! You have harvested 15 magical cherry tomatoes at once. Your job experience increases slightly. Your harvesting LV4 proficiency increases slightly. Due to the effect of proficiency increase LV1, the proficiency of harvesting LV4 increases an additional 5%. You gained 450 experience points. As Sejun brought the cut cherry tomato branches to the front of the storage. Pop it, pop it, pop it. The little rabbits, who were now completely used to farm work, removed the cherry tomatoes from the branches and stored them in the storage. And they tied up the useless cherry tomato branches and sent them to the surface. The cherry tomato branches would end up in the stomach of the black minotaur, along with the green onion leaves. Phew, finally done. Although the cherry tomato field was now close to 1,000 square meters, Sejun's body was different from before, so the time it took to finish was similar to before. After finishing the cherry tomato harvest, Sejun went up to the surface. Just then, oh! Yellow flowers bloomed in the peanut field. Buzz, buzz. The poisonous honey bees were busily gathering to suck the nectar from the peanut flowers. It seemed like peanuts would be available soon. Hezzy. Feeling happy about the prospect of new food, Sejun hummed a song and headed to the green onion field. Wow, it's like a forest now. The green onion field, which had been divided and planted every time the roots divided, was now over 2,000 square meters. Snip, snip. Although he could hear the sound of the mother rabbit and the sickle rabbit diligently cutting the green onions, the lush green onion leaves made it hard to see where they were. If the green onion field continued to grow like this, it seemed like there might be rabbits getting lost in Sejun's green onion field, just like people getting lost in cornfields in America. But this is not the time. Sejun hurried to join in the green onion field and began to cut the green onion leaves. Snip, snip. How much time had passed like this? Squeak. The black rabbit called Sejun. It's time for lunch. Before he knew it, the mother rabbit had gone down to the cave and prepared a meal with the gray rabbits and brought it up to the surface. The menu was steamed potatoes, roasted sweet potatoes, and grilled fish. And I'm full. Sejun, who had a full lunch, brewed coffee in his tumbler and sat down. Byung. Kei Kuyung. The black rabbit and Kyungi came to Sejun's side to take a nap. Kyungi transformed, fearing that he would have a hard time later because he was fascinated by the small size and let it sat on his lap. Sejun said with a stern expression. Kei Kuyung. Kyungi, who wanted to sleep on Sejun's lap with the black rabbit, was disappointed and increased his size to sleep against Sejun's back. Byung. Kei Kuyung. Listening to the snoring of the black rabbit and Kyungi, Sejun used the Create Thundercloud skill to make shade and move the clouds here and there to increase his proficiency. Your proficiency in Create Thundercloud has increased slightly. While he was raising the proficiency of creating Thundercloud, the tower's administrator requests something spicy to eat. A quest has been generated. Quest: serve spicy food to the depressed alien. Reward: decrease in alien's depression. Rejection: alien in extreme depression transforms into dark mode. Alien, who had not answered for a while, started talking. Open up. Alien blew mana into the portal in the administrator's area and shouted. However, it was impossible to activate the portal with Alien's tiny mana. Arg. Alien tried even after eating dozens of magical cherry tomatoes at once, but it was no use. They were just delicious. Kuakaika. Eventually, Aileen gave up trying to activate the portal she had been attempting for several days. Instead, I'll solve it myself. She decided to leave the administrator's area and solve it directly, like her grandfather. But, as soon as Aileen left the administrator's area, she felt the world spinning and hurried back to the administrator's area. With her dragon heart still weakly beating, there wasn't enough mana to sustain Aileen's body outside the administrator's area. Crying, human, I want to eat something spicy. A depressed Aileen sought out Sejun. Dark mode. He didn't know what it was, but it seemed like Aileen shouldn't go into dark mode. Just wait a moment. Sejun hurriedly took 5 half-dried squids he had prepared and went down to the cave to start making spicy stir-fried squid. He spared no effort in adding all the remaining chili powder. While Sejun was making spicy stir-fried squid, the tower's administrator requests advice on some troubles. Advice. Aileen spilled out her troubles. So, you're saying that a red locust has invaded the 67th floor of the tower. The tower's administrator confirms it. The tower's administrator says that if the red locust is left alone, it will evolve into a more powerful group. Sejun realized the seriousness of the situation from Aileen's words, a swarm of locusts that evolves by eating everything. First, I'll see if there's anything I can do to help. Sejun comforted Aileen and gave her the finished spicy stir-fried squid. You have completed the quest. As a quest completion reward, Aileen's depression decreases after eating spicy food. What should I do? Snip, snip. Sejun spent the entire afternoon cutting onion leaves, thinking about how to deal with the locusts. However, there was no apparent solution. That's when... Ouch! Sejun's hand was slightly cut on the onion leaf he was holding to cut. What is this? When Sejun looked at the onion leaf that cut his finger, its texture was completely different from the others. It felt like touching metal. He was lucky. The onion leaf was so hard and sharp that he could have cut off his finger if he had made a mistake. Could it be? Sejun, feeling strange, pulled out the root of the onion. You have harvested a sturdy blade onion. Your job experience slightly increases. Your proficiency of harvest LV 4 increases slightly. due to the effect of proficiency increase LV. 1. The proficiency of harvest LV. 4 increases by an additional 5%. You have gained 30 experience points. You have achieved the achievement of creating a new species in the tower. The tower recognizes your exclusive cultivation right for the new species. No one cannot cultivate a sturdy blade onion without your permission. Your job experience increases significantly. As Sejun was quickly checking the options of the second new species, the sturdy blade onion. I'm back, meow. Theo returned with a hamster. Chapter 57, Catching Pests. Sturdy blade onion. Right arrow, a mutated onion that has metallized its leaves to protect them from being cut off. Grown inside the tower, it uses all nutrients to make the onion leaves sharp and hard, resulting in lower taste and nutrition. Right arrow, there are no effects when consumed. Right arrow grower, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow shelf life, 90 days. Right arrow grade C. No effect when consumed, and no taste or nutrition either. Will the locust swarm try to eat this? Sejun's thoughts immediately connected to the red locust after checking the options of the sturdy blade green onion. Then, tab. President Park, I'm here, meow. Why don't you greet me, meow? Look, I'm also wearing a straw hat just like you, meow. Theo, feeling hurt that Sejun was not paying attention to him, tapped Sejun's leg again to announce his arrival. Oh, Theo, you're here. The straw hat suits you well. Sejun, snapping back to reality after Theo's words, complimented Theo's straw hat. Of course, meow. There is nothing in this world that doesn't suit me, meow. Theo, flattered by Sejun's compliment, shrugged his shoulders proudly. President Park, sit down here, meow. I sold out this time too and made a lot of money, meow. Theo invited Sejun to sit down, aiming to sit on Sejun's lap. However, greetings to the great black dragon. Iona, the head of the Wizards Association, presents my respect. Iona said, bending one knee. Thanks to this, Theo's strategy to sit on Sejun's lap failed. The head of the Wizards Association, but why are you here? I told her I'm the servant of the great black dragon, but she didn't believe me, so I brought her here, meow. I'm sorry, I believe you now. Iona apologized to Theo by bowing her head. And then, I have something to say to the great black dragon. Iona cautiously said to Sejun. Yeah, what is it? The reason I came here is actually to request the great black dragon to exterminate the red locusts on the 67th floor of the tower. I know. He had just heard it from Aileen, but he spoke as if he had known it from the beginning. I see you already knew. At first, Iona wasn't sure if Sejun really was the great black dragon. His appearance resembled a human who came from outside the tower, and he did not seem to have strong power. Is he really the great black dragon? Iona had doubts. Besides his black hair, there was nothing that seemed to be related to the black dragon. Although she could surely know whether the opponent is the great black dragon or not by performing a magic scan, it was a great rudeness to do so without the other's permission. And if the opponent really is the great black dragon, then not only herself, but also the entire Wizards Association might disappear due to her rudeness. Just as Iona was wondering whether Sejun was the great black dragon. Caillou. In Iona's view, Sejun was holding a blade of grass. It was definitely grass, but the leaves were sharp like a blade. And then Iona was certain. Great Black Dragon did not intervene immediately due to the tight schedule of developing a new weapon alone. That's the scenario Iona had written for herself. Great Black Dragon, I will capture the red locusts on the 67th floor of the tower and assist in the testing of your new weapon. New weapon, all right, I would appreciate that. Sejun, who had wanted to know if the sturdy blade onion leaves would be effective against red locusts, readily agreed to Iona's words. I'm honored to be able to help with the testing of Great Black Dragon's new weapon. Then I'll be back soon. Iona hurriedly descended the tower. And then, President Park, sit down quickly and receive my report, meow. Theo, who was keen to sit on Sejun's lap, tapped the floor and again urged Sejun to sit. Theo was persistent about Sejun's lap. "All right, go ahead." As soon as Sejun sat down on the floor, Theo climbed onto his lap and began his report on the latest trade. "I've sold out again, meow. And the total sales amount reached 10,575 tower coins, meow. Also, huge juduk." Theo turned over his bag, pouring out treats, Sejun's seasonings and coffee, and things he bought from the store area. "Theo, good job." Sejun recognized Theo's 50 hours of work and rewarded him with 575 tower coins, excluding the 10,000 tower coin incentive. "Thank you, meow. But Theo, don't you have something to tell me?" "Meow." As Sejun stared at Theo, Theo stealthily looked elsewhere, avoiding eye contact with Sejun, the behavior of someone who clearly had something to hide. "Theo, are you really not going to say it?" "It was a mistake, meow, but how did you know, meow?" Theo could not understand how he was caught when he had surely dealt with the golden sweet potatoes, committing the perfect crime. Theo never thought that the only being capable of causing such a mishap in this cave was himself. "I have my ways of knowing." "Indeed, Park Sejun is amazing, meow." Theo was once again amazed at Sejun's greatness. "Fine, since you confessed, I'll let this one go. But as a punishment, I'll confiscate your treats for the day and demote you from representative to intern. Also, I'll reduce your punishment time based on your behavior." "I understand, meow." Theo obediently descended from Sejun's lap. And then, flap flap, he started to fan with the cut onion leaves he found nearby, which were of an appropriate size. "Theo, you little." Sejun was moved by Theo's growth. He would have been heartbroken and stuck in a corner of the cave in the past, but now, he was trying to do something. "However, how about it, meow? It's cool, right, meow? Can I be Representative Theo again now, meow?" After fanning the onion leaves 10 times, Theo asked. He still hadn't developed patience. "I'll consider it after you fan 500 times." "That's too much, right, meow? Understood, meow." "Gale." Flap flap flap. "Gentle breeze." Flap flap. So Theo, following Sejun's words, diligently fanned the leaves 500 times at different speeds. "Am I now Representative Theo, meow?" My waist." Groan groan. "Am I now Representative Theo, meow?" "This time it's my shoulder." Groan groan. "Why does President Park have so many aches, meow?" Theo said in a disappointed voice, putting strength into his front paw. Sejun's heart softened at Theo's worried voice. "Okay, you're Representative Theo again." "Jump." "President Park, give me a churu." At Sejun's words, Theo jumped onto Sejun's lap at the speed of light and confidently asked for churu. "All right." When Sejun tore up churu and brought it to Theo's mouth. Chomp chomp chomp. Theo was lost in a trance of churu. Just as Sejun was feeding Theo churu. "Oh great black dragon, I've caught red locust." Yona magically subdued and brought 5 red locusts that were several times larger than her own body. So quickly. Considering the time it takes for Theo to go back and forth from the tower, it would have been time to not even reach the 67th floor of the tower yet. There are general, express, super express, and light speed routes in the merchant route. It seems like Yona used the light speed merchant route, meow. Theo solved Sejun's curiosity. "Iona, good job." "Thank you." Floating. Sejun examined the red locust, which was suppressed and floating in the air. "It's really big." At first, he felt repulsive at its gigantic appearance, but as he continued to look at it, he became familiar as if he were looking at a normal locust. "Kyungi." "Kung." At Sejun's call, Kyungi, who was in the cave, came up to the ground. "Kyungi, can you cut this for me?" Sejun offered a sturdy blade onion. Kyungi's skin was tough and thick, so there was no worry about getting hurt. "Kung." Kyungi grabbed the leaf of the sturdy blade onion with both hands and handed it to Sejun. Thanks. Sejun carefully held the sturdy blade onion leaf that Kyungi had broken and moved to a place where nothing was around. Then he dug the ground and anchored the leaf into the soil. Iona, can you keep these guys from escaping? Yes, don't worry, O great black dragon. Then let one go for now. Yes. When Iona released her magic. Flap, flap. One of the red locusts started to fly, flapping its wings. Iona, who was casting separate spells on each red locust, would have been an astonishing sight to other hunters. It meant that Iona was doing pentacasting, casting 5 spells simultaneously, and she was also having a conversation with someone else. No matter how identical the magic was, using 5 at the same time was nearly impossible, a feat of considerable difficulty. For reference, the hunter with the best magic skills on Earth had a limit of double casting the same magic. Whoosh! The freed red locust glanced around and charged towards the sturdy blade green onion leaf stuck in the ground. And then, chew, crunch, crunch. The red locust tried desperately to devour the sturdy green onion leaf till its last breath and then died. Its appetite was terrifying. At that moment, achievement unlocked. Great Farmer's achievement of pest control with crops. As a reward for the Great Farmer's achievement, one additional job attribute is granted. With the job attribute, you can gain experience when crops catch pests. Do crops catching pests also give experience? As Sejun was reading the message. Congratulations, O great black dragon. Iona confirmed the effects of the sturdy blade onion and spoke with emotion. Given enough time, it seemed like they could deal with tens of thousands of red locusts with just this leaf. At that moment, chew-chew, a chewing sound was heard. When Sejun looked at the source of the sound, Kyungi had put both the sturdy blade onion leaf and the red locust in its mouth and was chewing. Hey, you'll get hurt if you eat that. Sejun quickly opened Kyungi's mouth, but gulp! It had already swallowed. Luckily, there were no small wounds inside its mouth. Kyungi really didn't have anything it couldn't eat. Iona, take these leaves to the 67th floor of the tower and plant them like this for now. Kyungi, please cut the remaining leaves. Kung. In response to Sejun's words, Kyungi broke off all the sturdy blade onion leaves and handed them to Iona. Then I'll be going. Wait. Yes. Well, leave the remaining red locusts behind. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Kyungi, having already tasted the red locusts, and the wolves, smelling the blood, were licking their lips as they looked at the red locusts. When Iona handed the remaining 4 red locusts to Kyungi and the wolves. Chew-chew. Kyungi and the wolves began to eat the red locusts without hesitation. Then I will go down. Okay, the leaves will grow back by tomorrow morning, so come back to get them then. Yes. Iona went down to the 67th floor of the tower with 9 sturdy blade onion leaves. And a few hours later, your crops have exterminated pests. You have gained 1 experience. Your crops have exterminated pests. You have gained 1 experience. Messages began to appear one after another. Days passed like this, and as they planted more split sturdy blade onion roots and cut more sturdy blade onion leaves, they sent more to the 67th floor of the tower. And Iona built a minimum line of defense around the waypoint of the 67th floor with the sturdy blade onion leaves, preventing the red locusts from climbing to the 68th floor. Chapter 58. Obtaining a delivery contract. You've eliminated 1,003,781 red locusts on the 67th floor of the tower. There are still 6,038,819,188 red locusts left on the 67th floor. The number of red locusts on the 67th floor increased by 7 compared to an hour ago. Phew! Aileen sighed in relief after reading the notification from the crystal orb. The rapidly increasing number of red locusts had almost come to a halt. He, All thanks to the remarkable human. I should tell Grandpa to reward him when he comes. Aileen, with her lack of mana, could only see up to the 99th floor through the crystal orb. Therefore, she was not aware of the exact situation on the 67th floor. However, she well knew that Sejun played a major role in the elimination of Red Locust on the 67th floor. Contribution to the Red Locust's extermination on the 67th floor. First place, Park Sejun, 311,300. Second place, Iona, 123,812. Third place, Lizardman Warrior Temuro, 11,929. This was apparent from the contribution display on the crystal orb. Thanks to this, Aileen's depression had faded away. Gurgle. Instead, hunger came. I should ask the interesting human for something to eat. She was craving something sweet today. Day 228 of being stranded, afternoon. Craig. Kyungi broke the leaves of the blade green onion. Good job, Kyungi. Good job. As Sejun applauded and praised. Kyuang. Elated Kyungi started to dance, singing in his own rhythm and shaking his hips. And then, bang. The black rabbit, excited by Kyungi's dance, created a discordant beat with his hammer. Then, the tower's administrator says they want to eat dried sweet potato. Can't you see we're working instead of you, dealing with the red locusts on the 67th floor? Kyungi and the black rabbit were following the rhythm, and all Sejun did was clap for Kyungi, but Sejun spoke confidently. The tower's administrator says they acknowledge your contributions. The tower's administrator says you will be rewarded when the red locust extermination on the 67th floor is over. Reward, what is it? The tower's administrator says the more you contribute to the red locust extermination, the better the reward will be, so work hard. There was a separate reward. You should have said so sooner. Sejun hurriedly pulled out the dried sweet potato. Aileen, here's your quest. So Sejun, who handed the dried sweet potato to Aileen, started cutting the green onion leaves, thinking of ways to increase his contribution to the 67th floor. Then, Mr. Sejun, we're back. Elka and the wolves, who delivered the sturdy blade onions to the 67th floor, arrived. As soon as the defensive line for the waypoint on the 67th floor of the tower was established, Iona thought the urgent fire was out and intended to return to her magic tower. So she sought permission from Sejun to transport sturdy blade onion leaves through the Freelance Merchants Association on her behalf. Transport will do it for you. Instead, Sejun had the wolves deliver the sturdy blade onion leaves to the 67th floor of the tower while asking for the cost to be paid to him. Of course, he also received the payment for the sturdy blade onion leaves. He secured a delivery contract for the sturdy blade onion leaves. That's how he received 2.5 tower coins for each sturdy blade onion leaf as a fee for delivering blade leaves to the 67th floor of the tower, combining it with the transport cost. It was an incredibly cheap price compared to the effect of exterminating red locusts, but there was a reason. After being cut, the leaves of the sturdy blade onion would wither after 3-5 days because they were consumables. Thanks to this, it wasn't bad for Sejun to keep selling them at a steady pace, receiving 2.5 tower coins for each leaf of the sturdy blade onion. Here's your payment. Elka took out a money bag from her fluffy fur with her front paw. Inside the money bag was 75 tower coins, the price of 30 leaves of the sturdy blade onion. Although it was very small compared to the money Theo was making, if the harvest of the sturdy blade onion leaves increased in the future, it was highly likely to become another source of income for Sejun. Elka, you did well. Yes, then I will go down again. The wolves went down to the 67th floor of the tower again, carrying 200 sturdy blade onion leaves that were cut by Kyungi. Meanwhile, the production of sturdy blade onion leaves increased several times by dividing and planting the roots of the sturdy blade onion. Then, Your crops have exterminated pests. You've gained 1 experience point. A message appeared that the pests had been exterminated. It seemed that the attack of the red locusts was happening again. Recently, Sejun received a job quest when he went up to level 20, with the experience points of pest extermination being added to the crop harvesting experience points, raising his level by 1. Job quest, harvest 1,000 crops. Reward, level 21, 50 tower coins. Since it wasn't a difficult quest, Sejun completed the quest in 2 days while harvesting cherry tomatoes, and was continuously raising his experience points. And then, you've leveled up. You've gained 1 bonus stat. He leveled up again and reached level 21. The bonus stat was again allocated to magic, just like last time. From Sejun's cave to the west direction. Grrrr. Mother Crimson Giant Bear was patrolling. Then, swoosh swoosh. Mother Crimson Giant Bear heard the sound of an intruder moving. Swoosh swoosh. A tree about 10 m tall was walking by moving its roots. Such a big creature was usually deep in the west and couldn't be encountered, but today it revealed itself for some reason. Grrrr. Mother Crimson Giant Bear charged at the tree monster. Thud. The branches tried to bind the Mother Crimson Giant Bear, but they didn't hinder her movement at all. Bam! Rip! The Mother Crimson Giant Bear punched her 2 front paws into the body of the tree and ripped it apart. Snap! As the tree monster died, the Mother Crimson Giant Bear, who broke off the stiff branches, stood there chewing on the trunk and roots of the tree. And then, thud thud, she carried several branches and took them to Sejun's cave, the headquarters of the Tower Farm project on the 1st floor of the tower. Is this a cherry tomato? Michael, who had rushed over after receiving a report from team leader Thomas, looked at the squirming cherry tomato branches and asked. There was no fruit on them. Yes, Vice Chairman, it seems to have mutated due to the growth stimulant. Mutation, then you should have disposed of it quickly. Why are you still growing it? Michael shouted. It was only natural. It wouldn't be good for the company's image if word got out that Gagel had created such a strange thing. We were going to do that too, but... But what? We discovered something good while removing this plant. Cut off the bottom part of the cherry tomato. Thomas handed a sword to Michael and spoke. What could it be? Slicing. Michael, with an annoyed expression, cut off the bottom part of the cherry tomato. You've slain the polluted cherry tomato. You've gained 29 experience. What is this? Slice, slice. You've slain the polluted cherry tomato. You've gained 27 experience. You've slain the polluted cherry tomato. You've gained 33 experience. Michael, as if he couldn't believe it, cut down a few more cherry tomato trees. Trees give experience. Yes, we can gain experience by killing the plants we have grown. Furthermore, Thomas brought over a pot. In the pot, a small sprout was growing. It also reproduces itself. Really? Yes, they do need nutrients, but it's true. At Thomas' answer, a good idea came to Michael's mind. Good, plant these trees on the land we secured on the 2nd floor of the tower. Yes, understood. Day 230 of being stranded. Finally, Sejun's brick house with a room and a kitchen was completed. There was no furniture yet. Now I can sleep alone. Sejun temporarily made a bed in the room to be used as a bedroom with green onion leaves and a fur blanket. At that moment, in the corner of the bedroom there was a wooden box the size of an apple box with a door. TL note, https://n, Wikipedia, org/wiki/applebox. What's this? As he opened the door. Squeak squeak. The black rabbit, who was tidying up his stuff, was angry at Sejun for opening the door without knocking. Sorry. Sejun quickly closed the door. And then, he thought of the inside of the black rabbit's house that he just saw. What's this? While Sejun's house still didn't have a single chair, the Black Rabbit's house already had everything like a bed, a dining table and chairs. When Sejun thought he would have to press the wood craftsman Gray Rabbit. Is this the bedroom, meow? It's shabby, but I'll make myself comfortable, meow, because I'm the generous President Theo, meow. Theo, who was using the President Theo time ticket, came in with Kyungi carrying his baggage, as if it were his own, and lay down on Sejun's bed. Kyungi, from now on, dust off your feet before coming up here, meow. He acted like the owner, and even gave a warning to Kyungi. K Kyung. Tab tab. Upon Theo's words, Kyungi dusted the dirt off his paws and climbed onto Sejun's fur blanket and lay down. Sejun's fur blanket, which he had just cleaned and brought in from outside, was immediately covered in fur by Theo and Kyungi. It seemed necessary to ask the Gray Rabbit to make a brush out of wood before making any furniture. Thus Sejun, who gave up sleeping alone, left the bedroom and went to the kitchen. The kitchen was somewhat modern. He implemented an island brick table for preparing ingredients and dining, and a brick stove with a separate 4-section stove where the fire can be individually controlled. Good. When Sejun looked contently at the kitchen and went outside to start working again. Where are you going, meow? Bang. K Kyung. Theo, the Black Rabbit, and Kyungi also went outside and followed Sejun. They seemed more excited than usual today. While doing farm work with the three following him, Elka, who delivered sturdy blade onion leaves to the 67th floor of the tower and returned, approached Sejun. Sejun, I've returned, here's the payment. Elka handed Sejun a money pouch. Okay, good job. And the lizard men on the 67th floor of the tower want us to take care of the red locust carcasses. Can our silver wolf tribe do that? Carcass disposal. Yes, there are too many red locust carcasses and the lizard men are having trouble. Of course, we will give any benefits we obtain from this to you, Sejun. Since the sturdy blade onion leaves appeared, the number of red locusts dying overwhelmingly outnumbered the rate at which the lizard men were eating them. That was fine, but the problem was that the red locusts were eating these bodies. If the lizard men can't handle the overflow of red locust carcasses, the red locusts will eat their comrades' bodies and lay eggs, so they need to be dealt with quickly. So the lizard men, with a hopeful mind, proposed a deal to Elka, who always enjoys eating red locust carcasses deliciously whenever he visits the 67th floor of the tower, to give him 0.01 tower coins for every 100 kg of carcasses he removes. A win-win deal for both sides, and if Sejun permits, Elka planned to take all the Silver Wolf tribe down to the 67th floor of the tower. Well, of course it's possible. He thought that it would be insufficient with only 3 wolves as the harvest of blade leaves increased. If they could mobilize other wolves, Sejun would welcome it. So the Silver Wolf tribe went down to the 67th floor of the tower to supplement their protein intake. Chapter 59, Losing Reputation. On the 232nd day of being stranded, while practicing Thundercloud's skill after lunch and providing shade for Theo, the Black Rabbit, and Kyungi. Thump thump. Kroong. The Mother Crimson Giant Bear brought a massive tree trunk. Recently, as the Gray Rabbits started to make chairs, beds, and display shelves from wood, the Mother Crimson Giant Bear had been bringing back wood whenever she went out on patrol. However, it's too much, Sejun said, looking at the mountains of wood piled up behind the brick house. He did ask for the bear to bring back wood, but recently, the Mother Crimson Giant Bear has been bringing back wood every 2-3 hours. Boom! As the Mother Crimson Giant Bear laid down the wood and went back on patrol. Jump! The wood craftsman Gray Rabbit climbed up the tree for trimming. And just as he was about to cut the tree with an axe, squeeze! The tree branches quickly moved and ensnared the Gray Rabbit. Ji-young! From a bumpy part of the branch, a red fruit the size of a tennis ball sprung out and opened its mouth to eat the Gray Rabbit. Squeak! Rabbit! Swoosh! In a rush to save the gray rabbit, Sejun quickly sliced the fruit in half with his dagger. Then, all here exist. A voice was heard from the fruit. What was that? Sejun tried to listen more closely, but you've killed a carnivorous fruit of a corrupted large ent. You've gained 50 experience points. The branch was already dead. Corrupted ent. Was this a tree monster? Occasionally seeing blood on the tree or the smell of blood was strange. However, I thought it was blood from other monsters. He didn't expect it to be a real monster. But what does all here mean, and what is existing? For now, Sejun ordered the poisonous honey bees to extend their scouting range. The next morning, a bee from the poisonous honey bee landed on Sejun's shoulder as he came out of his brick house wearing a straw hat. And then, buzz. Hive 3 patrol report. Buzz. There's nothing suspicious around. A poisonous honey bee from the 3rd Queen's hive reported the results of its patrol to Sejun. All right, good job. Rub rub. At Sejun's words, the poisonous honey bee rubbed its body on Sejun's face and flew toward its comrades. Buzz buzz. The poisonous honeybees from the 3rd Queen's hive were busily collecting pollen and honey from the large field that was now starting to bloom. In the field where Sejun had planted 3,000 corn and 1,000 cherry tomatoes a month and a half ago, 1,951 corn and 650 cherry tomatoes had grown to full bloom. The germination rate was 65%. As the level of seed sowing increased, the germination rate also increased. Buzz buzz. The poisonous honeybee, which had collected pollen and honey, returned to its home. The 3rd poisonous honey bee's hive was located inside a brick structure near the green onion field. In the middle, there were several holes for the poisonous honeybees to enter, and it was sturdy as it was made of bricks. As Sejun was watching the poisonous honeybee, squeak, squeak, squawk, the rabbits hurried Sejun, calling him. I got it, I'll start harvesting now. Today was the day to harvest the carrots that were planted 1,000 each on the surface and in the cave. Swoosh! Sejun went to the carrot field, and when he pulled the carrot stem, a plump carrot was pulled out. After harvesting 20 carrots, crunch! Sejun and the rabbits started eating the carrots one by one. Grade C definitely tasted different. It's delicious. Let's each eat one more. That way our agility will increase and we can finish our work faster. Squeak! Squawk! Squawk! The rabbits were excited by Sejun's words. They didn't care about agility. It was only important that they could eat more carrots. They ended up eating all 20 carrots and started working. Pull, pull, pull. Having eaten 6 carrots and his agility increased by 3, Sejun harvested the carrots at a tremendous speed. The carrot harvest was finished in less than an hour. Squeak! Squawk! Squawk! While the rabbits were pleased looking at the cave storage full of carrots. Sejun, we have arrived. We are honored to see the mighty black dragon Sejun. Elka brought 2 wolves that Sejun had never seen before. Thea had to go down the tower again to trade, so Elka brought more wolves to deliver the sturdy blade onion leaves on the 67th floor on his behalf. My name is Malkai. My name is Borari. The wolves wagged their tails vigorously and introduced themselves to Sejun. Okay, Malkai Borari, I look forward to working with you. Leave it to us. We will work hard. After greeting Sejun, the wolves loaded the sturdy blade onion leaves, and then Theo came out of Sejun's brick house, trudging along with his bag. President Park, I'll be back. Theo, who didn't want to leave Sejun's lap, buried his face in Sejun's lap. He left his scent on Sejun's lap to alert others that he had an owner. He felt like there would be more entities aiming for Sejun's lap, not just the black rabbit and Kyungi. Take care of my lap. What do you mean, take care? Sejun said, detaching Theo, who clung to his leg. Meow, I got it, I'll be back. Theo, with an anxious face, and the wolves went down the tower together. Great job, everyone. We'll rest for 5 days and then continue exploring on the 39th floor. Yes. At the words of Leon, the guild leader of the Phoenix Guild, the guild members answered and left the tower. Kim Dong-sik, who participated in the first conquest of the deadly tarantula for his merit in bringing the detoxifying green onion, also left the tower. And as soon as he left the Black Tower, he went straight to the awakened association building to find Han Tae-jun. It was to hand over his golden sweet potato to his master. Korea's awakened association president's office. The indoor temperature, which was set to -30 degrees Celsius, was now set to -35 degrees in the president's office. The curse of the flame was getting worse. Dong-sik, is this golden sweet potato grown by Mr. Park Sejun? Han Tae-jun asked, looking at the golden sweet potato in his hand that was glowing. Yes, it's exactly as described in the item description. I saw the fire resistance option in the golden sweet potato, so I pleaded with the cat merchant to get it for you, master. Though Theo had practically pawned off the golden sweet potato to cover his mistake, Kim Dong-sik exaggerated a bit to score more points with his master. All right, Dong-sik, thank you. I'll give you 3 chances to refuse a 1v1 spar. Han Tae-jun did not understand why, but his disciples loved this reward the most. Thank you. Kim Dong-sik, who had earned 3 chances to avoid beatings, answered cheerfully. You may leave now. Yes. As Kim Dong-sik exited, crunch, Han Tae-jun started to bite into the golden sweet potato without even peeling the skin. Choo-choo. He hadn't cared about the taste as the fire resistance option was important, but as he chewed, a rich sweetness flowed out. Then, you have consumed the golden sweet potato. 200 g of fat will be broken down, increasing your fire resistance for 5 hours. Due to the talent, Medicine Boost, the medicinal effect is enhanced by 30%. The curse of fire has been temporarily lifted. His fire resistance greatly increased, and he could completely escape from the curse of fire for a few hours. Ha ha ha, good. Han Tae-jun quickly packed the golden sweet potato and got up. He was going to kill the boss of the 52nd floor of the tower who had cursed him. He was confident that he could kill him in his current state. Secretary Kim, I'm going into the tower. If anyone comes looking for me, tell them I'm on vacation. Han Tae-jun shouted to Secretary Kim, who was waiting outside the president's office, and crash. He jumped out of the window from the 30th floor of the building. Boom. President, what about the World Awakened Association meeting tomorrow? When Secretary Kim opened the door in a hurry after hearing Han Tae-jun's voice, the president's office was already empty. Han Tae-jun started to climb the tower again. Is this the 67th floor of the tower, meow? Yes, please come this way. Elka guided Theo to where his tribe members were gathering. Growl Creek. About 100 silver wolves, 4-5 m in size, were gathered there. Greet him. This is Representative Theo, who we are serving. It's nice to meet you, Representative Theo. Good, nice to meet you too, meow. When 100 wolves bowed and greeted him, Theo felt a sense of grandeur in his heart. Heh heh heh. Of course, I'm invincible when I'm with Park Sejun, meow. I'll look around and explore for a bit, meow. Theo, in a good mood, started exploring the 67th floor of the tower. They were gradually reclaiming the land, pushing out the red locust a bit by bit with the sturdy blade onion leaves. Just then, that cat, he's the subordinate of the great black dragon. The lizard men, free mercenaries, and wizards who were resting in the back looked at Theo with a glance and whispered to each other. Pew Hugh Hut, do they recognize me, the deadly yellow cat Theo Park, the subordinate of the great black dragon? Theo, with his chin held high, walked slowly so that the beings of the 67th floor could get a detailed look at his formidable appearance. Then, Representative Theo, I'm sorry. From afar, Elka looked apologetic as she watched Theo. While delivering the sturdy blade onion leaves to the 67th floor of the tower, Elka had heard a strange rumor. The main content was, the great black dragon spends a lot of money. It seemed due to the sturdy blade onion leaves deal. Although it was true, from the standpoint of serving the great black dragon, Elka couldn't sit by while Sejun's reputation was tarnished. So, during every trade, Elka would leak some other information to the lizard men. There's a wandering cat merchant named Theo among the subordinates of the great black dragon, and he spends a ton of money. This deal was led by Representative Theo from start to finish. Having heard this a few times from Elka, the beings in the tower came to believe that the great black dragon would never spend money so recklessly. Thus, the honor of the great black dragon was maintained. However, Theo's reputation began to drop. Since there was originally no great reputation, there was nothing to lose, but his nearly zero reputation started to plummet below zero, spreading rumors about the unscrupulous merchant Theo. Pew hut, what? Can't they all even look me in the eyes because they're embarrassed, meow? Only Theo was unaware of his bad reputation. Representative Theo, let's go down now. Understood, meow. Before being discovered, Elka quickly took Theo down the tower. Dawn of the 235th day of being stranded. Squee! A scream came from the mother rabbit in the cave. Labor had started. Kilik! Sejun quickly opened the door and left the brick house. He planned to go down into the cave in case of an emergency. Then, thud thud. There was a sound of something moving unnaturally. What's that sound? When Sejun looked at where the sound came from, small tree branches, about 50 cm tall and as thick as Sejun's wrist, were approaching the cave, walking on two legs. Corrupted Ent's small branch scout. It was a monster. Black rabbit invaders. Sejun quickly stabbed the branch scout in front of him with a dagger and called for the black rabbit. You have defeated the corrupted Ent's small branch scout. Bang! The black rabbit, hearing Sejun's call, took up his weapon, a hammer, and thump thump thump, started pounding the branch scouts. In an instant, 8 branch scouts around them were taken down. Then, thud thud, countless branch scouts were approaching. It seemed it was going to be a tough morning. Chapter 60, touched by filial piety. There were too many enemies. Fortunately, the enemies were coming from the west where crops had not been planted, and they were weak wooden monsters that he could handle. All he had to do was hold out until morning. When morning came, the crimson giant bear and black minotaurs would start their day. I need to buy some time. Guys, prepare the torches. As Sejun shouted into the cave's entrance. Baya. BBA alp. Beep. The rabbits quickly put the torches they had previously made into a basket and tied them to a rope. Black Rabbit, bring some fire from the kitchen. While Sejun pulled up the torches, he told the Black Rabbit. He thought that the enemies, being made of wood, would be vulnerable to fire. Bang! The Black Rabbit quickly fetched fire from the kitchen in the brick house. Then, thump thump, several branch scouts approached. Bang! Bang bang bang. While Sejun was hoisting the torches, the Black Rabbit guarded him and took care of the enemies. Whoosh! In the meantime, Sejun hoisted the torches, arranged them in a circle, and set them on fire. He then threw one of the flaming torches with all his might towards the enemy. Swoosh swoosh. As the torch flew 50 meters and hit the front of the enemy line. Whoosh! The fire transferred to the enemy's body. Luckily, it burned well. Thump! The branch scout who had caught on fire couldn't take a few steps and fell down. You have defeated a small branch scout of the corrupted Ent. You have gained 25 experience points. The other branches of the scout moved sideways to avoid the fire. Guys, keep making torches. Sejun told the rabbits in the cave to make more torches. Whoosh whoosh. And again threw a torch at the branch scouts. As Sejun threw dozens of torches, the number of branch scouts falling while on fire increased, naturally creating a wall of fire. And then, bang, 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 bang. The branch scouts coming through the gaps in the wall of fire were dealt with by the Black Rabbit. Good. If they could hold out like this, throwing torches until morning, they would be all right. Sejun attacked the enemies, throwing another torch. Whoosh! You have defeated a small branch scout of the corrupted end. You have gained 25 experience points. You have defeated a small branch scout of the corrupted end. You have gained 25 experience points. Experience points flooded in as he burned the branch scouts. Additionally, your crops have exterminated pests. You have gained 1 experience. Your crops have exterminated pests. You have gained 1 experience. The red locusts started to move again, boosting the experience points. After a while, you have leveled up. You have acquired 1 bonus stat. Sejun leveled up, reaching level 22. Good, I'll allocate the bonus stats in magic. He even had the luxury of allocating his bonus stats. At this rate, I might finish them off before dawn. Sejun was beginning to be confident of his victory when thud thud, hug. As if to mock Sejun's thoughts, creatures over 2 m tall appeared from the rear of the enemy line. Corrupted Ent's large branch scout. The large branch scout with long legs jumped over the firewall. But still, it's just wood. Sejun threw a torch at the large branch scout, but smack! The large branch scout swatted away the thrown torch as if swatting away a mosquito. It seemed to have strong resistance to fire. Darned! Sejun was taken aback when the torch didn't work. Just then, beep! Black Rabbit charged forward and hit the large branch scout's leg. Bang! With the Black Rabbit's attack, the large branch scout lost its balance as its leg broke. Beep! The Black Rabbit, who jumped high, raised its hammer above its head and aimed for the torso of the large branch scout. Bang! Thud! With the Black Rabbit's attack, the large branch scout fell. However, thump thump! While the Black Rabbit was dealing with 1 large branch scout, thousands of them were approaching over the fire. Just then, a huge shadow started to cover the surroundings. Huh, you guys! The Mother Crimson Giant Bear and the Minotaur King appeared. Roar! Thump thump! Bang! As the Mother Crimson Giant Bear charged towards the large branch scouts, the area was devastated. The Minotaur King also began to attack. Roar! Whoosh! Bang! When Minotaur King swung his weapon, the Red Bone Club, in the air once, the large branch scouts in front of him were swept away as if they had met a typhoon. And, roar! Roar! The Minotaur King and the Black Minotaurs guarded the surroundings of Sejun. Swoosh! Hehe, I feel refreshed. Aileen came out of the lake after a bath. And, munch munch! She filled her stomach with the dried sweet potatoes Sejun gave her. Hee, that's sweet. Aileen had filled her belly enough, so she decided to watch what the interesting human was doing. Given the time, he seemed likely to be asleep, but watching him sleep would make the morning come quickly. Crystal orb. Swoosh! At Aileen's call, the crystal orb appeared suddenly in front of her. A little mana had accumulated in Aileen's dragon heart, and she was finally able to summon the crystal orb from the administrator area. Haha, if a little more mana accumulates, I should be able to hear the interesting human's voice too, right? Aileen thought about the crystal orb's voice support function and looked at Sejun's brick house through the crystal orb. But Sejun wasn't in his bedroom. Where did he go? Aileen looked outside the brick house. Then she saw Sejun fighting with the corrupted Ent's branches outside. Roar, you Ents, how dare you attack my special human? She wanted to rush out and burn the entire western forest immediately, but it was frustrating that she couldn't. But it was fortunate that the special human was fighting well against the branches. Get stronger quickly, human. As Aileen was cheering for Sejun and looking around. What, those guys too? She saw thousands of large branch scouts coming from a point 5 km away from Sejun's house. What do I do? He can't stop that. The level difference between small and large was significant, and their numbers were too many. Mama Bear, wake up. Minotaur King, wake up. Aileen started waking up the Mother Crimson Giant Bear and Minotaur King by sending them messages. How did you guys know? While Sejun was wondering, the tower's administrator says that she woke up the Mother Crimson Giant Bear and Minotaur King. The tower's administrator shouts for you to trust her and sleep soundly in the future. Aileen, thank you. I survived because of you. For some reason, Aileen didn't respond to Sejun's words. Aileen's heart was pounding too hard at Sejun's words. At that moment, Kung, Kyungi called Sejun in front of the large branch scout. Kyungi, why? When Sejun approached, thump, a large branch scout, whose arms and legs were all broken but not yet dead, was seen trying to move. Oh, it's not dead yet. Thud. You have defeated a large branch scout of the corrupted end. You have gained 500 experience points. As Sejun killed the large branch scout. Thud. Kung. Kyungi, breaking the remaining arm of the moving large branch scout, called Sejun. Oh, this one also has no arms and legs. Thud. Sejun delivered the final blow again. Meanwhile, Kyungi immobilized another branch scout and called Sejun again. The black minotaurs watching from behind were moved by the filial piety of Kyungi, who was trying to raise a weak dad. And, thud, Yuma. Following Kyungi, they broke the arms and legs of the surviving branch scouts and called Sejun. Thanks to the help of Kyungi and the black minotaurs, Sejun, who monopolized the experience, raised his level again and reached level 23. And, Pu. At the end of the long dawn, the faint cries of the baby rabbits came from the cave. Theo's intuition was accurate. Creatures targeting Sejun's knees were born. In front of the merchant route, connecting the 50th floor to the 40th floor of the tower. I feel uneasy, meow. Theo, looking at his trembling whiskers shoot up, said. He felt like he had to return to the 99th floor of the tower soon. We can't wait, meow. Elka, let's go at top speed, meow. Yes, Representative Theo, I will carry you quickly and safely. At Theo's words, Elka started to run with Theo on his back. And then, humans, I have arrived, meow. After 12 hours, Theo, who arrived at the 38th floor of the tower, announced his arrival while riding on Elka's back. Theo, wait a moment, I'll call people right away. The hunters resting in the camp hurriedly contacted their colleagues. Fine, meow, generous me will wait, meow. Theo spoke, placing a hand on his waist while sitting atop Elka. They didn't get surprised at seeing a silver wolf tribe member. It was because they occasionally saw wandering merchants with mercenaries. Soon the hunters began to gather. Ho ho ho, there are more humans, meow. Theo was pleased to see nearly 500 gathered hunters. The increase in the number of hunters was due to rumors about a new crop called detoxifying green onion. The royal knights had obtained 30 detoxifying green onions. One of them was fed to a guild member's father with terminal liver cancer, with the guild's permission. And Sejun's crops surprised the world again. After eating the detoxifying green onion, cancer cells started to disappear from the liver of a terminal liver cancer patient within 24 hours. This led to an increase in the number of hunters once again, as wealthy individuals suffering from liver cancer requested detoxifying green onions from hunters. Today, I will sell C-grade magical cherry tomatoes in an auction, 500 each for a total of 6,000, followed by 100 each of D-grade detoxifying green onions for a total of 3,000, meow. Theo invested all the incentives he received from Sejun into increasing his bag capacity and filled it with detoxifying green onions, which were popular among humans. He deliberately arranged to sell the tomatoes first. This would keep humans who wanted to buy the onions around longer. Hee. Now I am a seasoned wandering merchant who knows the art of selling meow. While Theo was feeling proud of his own growth. 650 tower coins for 500. Hunters began to bid for magical cherry tomatoes. As the supply of magical cherry tomatoes increased, the price gradually stabilized, settling at about 1.45 tower coins per tomato on average. All magical cherry tomatoes are sold out meow. In this way, he sold 6,000 magical cherry tomatoes and earned 8,700 tower coins. And then, now I will sell detoxifying green onions, meow. With Theo's words, a fierce competition among hunters began. 2,500 tower coins for 100. 3,000 tower coins for 100. 3,500 tower coins for 100. Phoenix Guild, Royal Knight Guild, and Wizard Guild members participating in the auction quickly gave up bidding due to the skyrocketing prices. Today was not their day. 7,200 tower coins for 100. Sold meow. 7,600 tower coins for 100. Sold meow. Hunters who had been commissioned by the rich, who could spend hundreds of billions for their lives, swept away the detoxifying green onions. The call really was the price. If you can't eat magical cherry tomatoes, you just lose vitality, but if you can't eat detoxifying green onions, you die. For the rich, this wasn't a matter of value. In this way, Theo sold 3,000 detoxifying green onions and earned 215,200 tower coins. Hee. Now, even the dream of becoming an advanced wandering merchant is not far away, meow. Before he knew it, Theo's sales amount was approaching the promotion condition of 1 million tower coins for an advanced wandering merchant. Of course, other conditions are needed as well. Those who want to take a picture with me, line up, meow. Theo took pictures with the hunters and received churu, seasoning, and coffee as rewards. See you next time, meow. Theo hurriedly left the camp to go to the 99th floor of the tower. At that moment, Mr. Theo. The 5 hunters who tried to kidnap Theo, but ended up having their lives mortgaged, approached him nervously.